ESPN's Adam Schefter with Armen and Levack. Thanks to Death Wish Coffee every single week right here on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Schefty, Eli Manning wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Will he be?
Mark this down. The Giants and Eli Manning are expected to work out a long-term contract agreement. Did we just break news or what? Okay? Because there's no way that these two sides don't get it done. It's just hard to imagine that it doesn't get done. That's why I feel comfortable in saying the Giants and Eli Manning are expected to work out a long-term contract agreement that will enable Eli Manning to finish his career in New York, which, by the way, is as it should be. The roadmap is there, the parameters are there, and now they just got to get the numbers in place.
Will they get it done before the first game of the regular season?
I believe they will. I don't think either side wants to have it hanging over his head entering the season. The roadmap is all there, right there in front of them, and it should not be a difficult deal to do.
Shefty, how weird is it that this is a kind of a rare time where the franchise tag actually really does benefit a player at Eli Manning's age? He would make $25 million guaranteed versus 22 to 23 if they were to pay him as the highest paid player in the NFL.
That's true. I mean, it is a little bit an odd arrangement. I come down to this. I know that agents drive these deals. Do you really think that Eli Manning cares much about an extra $2 or $3 million? Do you think that's going to make his decision for him? No, I don't think so. Eli Manning's going to do what's best, what's right, what's fair, what's honorable. It's just the way that he's done his business. I don't believe it's anything different. Yes, the franchise tag is higher. Yes, it's an odd arrangement. Yes, it does give him some leverage, no question about it. But they're going to get it worked out.
ESPN's Adam Schefter thinks of Death Wish Coffee with Armen and Levack.
Shefty, what do you make of the Giants bringing in Brandon Merriweather?
They needed to do something, and Brandon Merriweather represented at this point in time the best option, a 31-year-old former Pro Bowl safety. Is it an ideal scenario? No, but they're not in an ideal scenario. They're in a situation where they've got to make do with what they have, and they've got to find a replacement somehow, some way. And Brandon Merriweather was probably the top safety available on the street, for whatever that's worth.
Adam Schefter, thanks to Death Wish Coffee. Shefty, are the Jets better off with Ryan Fitzpatrick starting and Geno Smith being out right now?
Well, I know the numbers say that. I know there are plenty of people who believe that. I'm not in that school. I just think that Geno Smith was having a strong offseason, was making progress. He was your former second-round pick. He's a young quarterback showing improvement, I think. And I think it would have been great to have him in the Chan Gailey system, seeing how he could operate, seeing what he could do. I think when you lose him, I think it's a blow to the starting position. It's a blow to the depth. Yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick may, in the short term, be more viable and provide better play initially. But I just think it's a setback, a major setback for the entire Jets organization when they lose a player like Geno Smith.
Is it odd that the team has, with the exception of Brandon Marshall, now 5 days later, the team as a whole hasn't supported him at all?
Maybe that's odd. He's also a young player. He has not proven himself so far. There are some different circumstances surrounding that. I don't know whether that's real or not. Like, I'm not in that locker room to where are they bringing players out to the podium? Are reporters getting players on a one-on-one basis? Are they calling them? How are they getting that information? I think any logical, sane, rational human being could agree that what IK and Impali did to Geno Smith was just flat wrong. Flat wrong, okay? You don't ever hit anybody in the face. You don't ever sucker punch anybody. I don't care if they owe you money. I don't care any of that. That's just the wrong thing to do. Did I just support Geno Smith by saying that? I don't know.
ESPN's Adam Schefter thanks to Death Wish Coffee on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Shefty, we were at Bills camp yesterday. 3 times the amount of national media from last year. We also saw their quarterback position. We also saw their depleted linebacker position. We also saw a questionable offensive line. Is there any chance the Bills live up to this Rex Ryan hype they're going to have this year?
Rex Ryan's team's always going to have a lot of hype, and that's part of the fun element of his teams that there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of bravado, it's fun, it's invigorating, it's stimulating. It's all those things. It's great. I mean, Rex's teams are fun, but in recent seasons, it hasn't worked out exactly the way that he nor the Jets would like, which is why he was available, which is why Buffalo was able to hire him. And I think there are question marks and some holes with Buffalo, most notably at the quarterback position. That's the biggest one there is. And you have to see how that position evolves, but I think every team in the league's got holes and question marks. Buffalo is no different. They've got some talent in some spots. They've got key talent in key spots. But there's no question that they've got some major questions that they're going to have to answer going forward. And before you can say how good they are or aren't, you have to see how those positions evolve.
While we were there, we were talking to ESPN's Mike Rodak, and he said that we shouldn't be surprised if Richie Incognito is named captain. What kind of PR look would that be for the team around the NFL?
I'll say this. Reading his comments, I have not been around him. He does seem like he has been humbled. He's grown up. He's matured. And if he's worthy of that honor, then that's how it'll be. I know it'll create a big reaction if that happens. But it is a young team, and he's been I would say, a mature individual in camp this summer and shown them some things. So if it goes down that way, again, it would not be terribly surprising, though I'm sure there'd be a lot of reaction to it.
ESPN's Adam Schefter thanks to Death Wish Coffee. Shefty, Sammy Watkins yesterday did not fully participate. He had the hip injury in the offseason. Yesterday, he said he had a sore glute. It's August 18th. How concerned should we be that Sammy Watkins is not fully participating in practice on a consistent basis yet?
I wouldn't be overly concerned just yet. If it gets to be September 10th, so September 5th, 6th, a week before the opener, and he's not fully participating, I think we've got an issue. But I know that he had the hip surgery, and he basically came into minicamp, played a play or two, and then exited the lineup and didn't participate much in the OTAs. But from what I understand, he's looked very impressive this summer when he has practiced. And they just need to get him back out there healthy. And you want to make sure that when you've got a stallion like that you make sure you take great care of that stallion and make sure that you don't put him out there before he's ready.
Speaking of stallion, Shefty, preseason week 1 in the books. What's your biggest takeaway / player that has impressed you the most so far?
Well, the one player that opened my eyes a little bit was Brock Osweiler, the Broncos quarterback. And it's interesting because he's in the last year of his contract, and Denver, as well as every other team in the league, has to figure out what Brock Osweiler is. And here's a quarterback that the Broncos once took ahead of Russell Wilson in the same draft as Andrew Luck and Ryan Tannehill and RG3 and Brandon Weeden. He was the 5th quarterback drafted that year, and nobody really knows what he can or can't do. But he went into Seattle over the weekend, and even though it was just one preseason game, still Brock Osweiler was very impressive. And with him being in a contract year, that creates a very interesting situation to me.
ESPN's Adam Schefter thanks to Death Wish Coffee. You're on your way back from New York City right now. Tomorrow, Deflategate continues, but there was some action today at the federal courthouse. What's the latest on Deflategate as far as what's happened over the last several hours?
Well, I know that the two sides met today, meaning on Tuesday, but I was told they got, quote-unquote, nowhere. That was how it was explained to me. Now, maybe talks change later in the day. I would be skeptical of that. I think that nothing really transpired or progressed to where the sides felt good about it. And so there are going to be legal arguments in lower Manhattan on Wednesday morning. They'll continue with the lawyers going at it. I think that Dan Nash, representing the NFL, and Jeffrey Kessler, representing the NFLPA, will be called up and asked to answer questions in front of federal Judge Berman, again, as this case continues to go on way too long, much longer than anybody would like to see it go on. It's 7 months exactly tomorrow since the case began. And again, it's, I think, gone on longer than anybody would like it to see it go on. It's time to end it one way or another.
I couldn't agree with you more. Are we going to see any kind of progress or movement in this tomorrow?
I don't think so. I think there'll be legal arguments again. I don't think we're going to get Judge Berman rendering a decision or a verdict tomorrow, if that's what you mean. That's not my understanding of how this is going to transpire. So until it's over, it's not over, and it's just going to continue to go on. I think this is a big day for the attorneys tomorrow, more than anything else.
Is this a black eye for the NFL, Schefter? How much? And what does that even mean, you know?
Well, is it a black eye? I mean, the league's poster child, its favorite son, has got beaten up and tarnished. And we don't know whether or not it's valid. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Okay, we're waiting for the judge to make a determination. And I think that if the NFL simply had handed down a $25,000 fine to the Patriots after the AFC game with a warning that any other transgressions of this type would be considered a major violation, worthy of suspensions and loss of draft picks, then we wouldn't be where we are today. I think Jeffrey Kessler said as much in court last week. But the NFL was very aggressive, and it felt like the integrity of the game had been compromised. The NFL is never going to stand for that. The NFL took a very strong stand, and it's led everybody to be where they are today.
ESPN's Adam Schefter. Thanks to Death Wish Coffee every week right here on 104.5 The Team. Shafty, appreciate you, man. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.